finally here, boys and girls. We're doing the Cleveland Way. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I am Rob, and today we are doing day one of the Cleveland Way, a 110-mile mega hike that is, to me, one of the best walks in the world. We started just down there in Helmsley, and we're going to walk up along the Cleveland Hills today to Osmotherley, but the route continues beyond that, following the Cleveland Hills around to Saltburn by the Sea, and following the coast all the way down to Filey. When I say that I love this walk, that is no understatement. This walk means so much to me, and I can't wait to get into it all with you over the following videos. So let's get going. One of the big reasons why I really love this walk is that it's the first big multi-day hike that I embarked upon, and I picked a good one. But it also came at like quite an important time of my life, shortly after I'd been diagnosed with autism. So that was something that, whilst it didn't come as a shock, it took some digesting, let's say. And this walk proved the ointment I needed to wrap my head around that diagnosis and to really come to terms with it, because it wasn't always easy. So today's adventure is taking us from Helmsley, and we're going along these delightfully foresty hills over to near Revo Abbey. And we're not going to go there because it's a bit of a detour and I don't really have the time to do it. I'm sure we'll go there at some point. And then we're heading up towards, checks phone because he forgets the name of places. Panic. How are you today? Towards Cold Kirby and then over to Sutton Bank. If you wanted to, you could detour from Sutton Bank over to the White Horse, which again, we're probably not going to do that because this is an amended version of the Cleveland Way, and in my opinion is better. Then from there we are walking along the bank along the top from Sutton Bank all the way up onto the moors and then down into Osmotherley, where we will finish for the day. All in all, it's about 22-ish miles, and it's a beaut. It's actually quite a relief to be out today as well. I'm tripping over as well. I've had a bit of a cold for the last couple of days, which is probably why I sound a bit groggy today. And yesterday it was just like, you know, when it's right in your face and just breathing and existing hurts. So I'm relieved that today it was alright enough for me to come out. So we're going to take it nice and slow today. I'm not going to push myself, but we will get to Osmotherley. How long it takes us to get there, I don't know. I've done it a couple of times there now, especially this first section I've hiked quite a few times. It's just a really lovely area. It's very diverse as well. Like right now we're in the trees, but before long we'll be up on the hills and in the moors and just a bit of everything. It's just a lovely route. Like, you're going to hear me say that a lot over the next couple of days. Lovely route. Bloody hilly though. Especially day two. Day two is a killer. So we're just crossing over the bridge, and if we'd turned right back there, we'd be heading over to Revo. But that is not our destiny, boys and girls. Today we're going that way. following a very quaint little road for about a mile. So I hope you'll indulge me on this walk, because I do want to open up a little bit and share. Because like I said, this walk meant so much to my journey and understanding at my autism diagnosis that I feel like I want to sort of explain that, because that's so key to why I love this route. Just after turning 30, I started the process of finding out if I was autistic. Obviously a couple of years before that I'd spoken to my doctor and they'd said, we'll put you on the waiting list to get a referral, but it does take a couple of years because NHS is underfunded and underappreciated. So yes, anyway, the time finally came, and it was during the pandemic, so normally it would have been in person with people, but it was all remote. So I had to have a number of online interviews basically, where I talked about my life and the time when I've struggled with certain things. And it was a really hard thing to go through, actually, revisiting a lot of really tough memories where I just felt like I didn't fit in, or not understood why my mind was doing one thing when other people were doing a different thing, not wrapping my head around certain concepts, and it was really hard. I'd come away from those meetings just feeling drained, deep in my core. So there was a number of those and some little exercises, and then it was, right, we're going to go off and make a decision, we'll let you know. I had no idea how long that would take. I think it ended up being several weeks actually, and they eventually said, we've got a decision to make, let's schedule in a call. So even then it was like, my brain's going thinking, is it a yes, is it a no? At the time it didn't really matter either way. If the answer was a yes, then that put a lot of context into why I am the way I am. And if it was a no, it was, you're the same as everyone else, so you're just being weird, basically. But there was actually also a third option, which is, we're going to say you're not autistic, but only because saying you're autistic could make your life worse, basically. So the way they described it was basically, you will struggle with certain things, like it'd be more difficult for me to get a therapist, say, and little things like that. So they were basically saying, if you are autistic but not enough in our eyes for it to benefit you to have this answer, then we'll just tell you you're not, and you just have to live with it. So I was like, I might even get told I'm not, but I am, and they won't tell me that. So it was playing with my mind. And then the day finally came. I'd already sort of planned to come and do the Cleveland Way shortly after that, and they said, you are autistic, here's your certificate. There's not really a certificate. There is something that says I am, but it's not like, congratulations, you're autistic. Maybe I should make one of those. But anyway, yeah, they said, yes, you are, and sort of explained what that might mean, and that there's other support out there. And at that point, it was like everything in my life went from like that to like that. And I can't really think of a better way to explain it. It's like, sorry, I'm stopping for a berry. Oh, sour. It wasn't even worth the distraction. Yeah, it was like everything suddenly sort of locked into place, which was unbelievably disorienting. I hadn't expected it to kind of dislodge my sense of reality quite so much, because nothing in the day-to-day changed, but everything in my day-to-day changed. So they said, you can go on these group sessions and talk about it with other autistic people, which I tried, but that just wasn't for me. They're all talking about how they can hear electricity. But anyway, so I just kind of stepped out into this world without really understanding what I was now. And it took a 110-mile walk around North Yorkshire to make it make sense to me. finding out you're autistic in your 30s is not like finding out you're autistic when you're a child. It's kind of like getting so far through your life and then being told that the colour of the sky, the blue that you're so aware of and is just taken as standard, that blue is completely different to the blue that everyone else sees, and your whole life is just like off kilter. It was a very strange experience, but like I'd ummed and ahed about getting the diagnosis for so long. I could see the benefits and I could see the problems it might cause, because I'm very fortunate. I'm not like on the spectrum. I'm not at the point where I can't communicate and I can't live an independent life, but I pick up a phone in a call centre and someone says, "Hi, I'm Mr. blah 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 and I want to speak to blah 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 about blah blah blah," and it all just goes. I physically cannot grasp that information. I can't wrap my head around it. And that's just one example, but like finding out that I was autistic has been one of the most empowering things for me, especially at this age. I think if I'd found out when I was 12 maybe, I'd have been scared, because going off to school and people just look for something to pick up on and to just bully you. I feel like if I'd known then, I'd have tried to mask it really hard. Whereas I feel since I've found out, I almost wear it like a badge of honour, because it's like, yeah, I'm gonna do strange things and I've got a reason for it. I'm gonna see the world a little bit differently. My blue sky is different to your blue sky, and I wouldn't have it any other way. But at the same time, finding out I was autistic in my 30s has meant that I've been stuck with so many moments, isolation and misery, that I might not have felt if I'd known what was going on in my head. There's no right answer. I physically can't go back in time to me at my lowest moments. Rob, don't worry about it. You're autistic. Embrace it and just love yourself. And if I hadn't had those moments, would I be here right now? Would I be happily married with an amazing child and a great job and a snuggly div dog and 2 annoying cats? Would I have all of that? My path could have just diverged into a completely different way. There is no right answer. There is only the world we exist in. And anyway, let's get back to the Cleveland Way. So we're not far off the village of Cold Kirby. Now, you might be thinking Cold Kirby's quite a strange name. And actually, it's because it used to be called Kirby. But then, one night in 1846, the criminal known as Barnabas Reeves snuck into the village, stole all the warm clothes. And everyone woke up the following morning and everyone was freezing. So, because they couldn't be bothered to nip down to the local Primark, they all just decided to complain and change the name of the village to Cold Kirby. And that's a fact. Now we're in Cold Kirby, we're doing things a little bit differently. Now, normally if you were doing the Cleveland Way, you would take this this left right down there, but we're not doing that. We're going straight on this road, because that way takes you over towards Sutton Bank. There's a big car park there, and if you're doing this in short stages, that's a really good end to day one. But we're not. We're going on to what's it called? Say it with me, kids. Osmotherley. Which means that we want to go a little bit further along. So instead of me going all the way over there to reach the bank, to sort of come back on myself a bit, we're gonna follow this road up, and then there's a bit where you cut across a field and you just get the amazing view just open up to you all at once. Also, if you go that way, you have to walk down the side of an unnecessarily busy road for too long, in my opinion. So we're not doing that. We're going this way. This is why I love this route. Sometimes you just walk along and then you turn around and it's unbelievable views. And that's just the start of it. It's absolutely divine, this route. We've left the road and we're about to rejoin the Cleveland Way. But in a second, you're going to see why we've come this way. And it's a pretty great view. Hey? Now tell me this isn't one of the best views in all of Yorkshire. You can see the Dales right over there. Oh, absolutely fantastic. And yes, by coming this way, you come up over that hill, down here, and just walk right into it. Ah, it is a good day. I was a bit worried that I was going to get here just as it started absolutely pelting it down with rain. But we've been lucky, we got the drone up, we did a little fly around. Job is very much a good one. The wind has picked up a little bit, which that's just going to be our friend for the next couple of hours at least. We are now heading that way. So we've kind of gone to the furthest point. Helmsley was back there. We've come here to Sutton Bank. Now we're going that way to Osmotherley, via some forests, some fields and some moors. So still a good few hours left. And in case you can see, I'm not sampling from my own source. It's water with hydration tablets in. They just happen to be urine coloured. Doesn't taste like urine. You can see over there our next destination, Boltley Forest, where we actually visited a couple of years ago. Nice woods actually. I was pleasantly surprised considering that whole day ended up being a bit chaotic. There's also a place that I'm forgetting the name of. I just know it as some friends of ours. It's their secret spot that I have discovered. So apologies to you two, but I'm gonna expose your secret spot to everyone. So na. So we're all filled up with food, refreshed to keep going. Had to stop and eat something because, as some of you will know if you're fans of the channel, I'm a type 1 diabetic as well, because my body is needlessly churlish with its view on health. But yeah, like the autism, that was like a big thing I had to go through in understanding, but it was also very different. Scroll back the clocks to 2010. I was a wee 19-year-old stepping out into the world. For a couple of months I'd been feeling like I was losing a bit of weight and not really feeling that energetic and drinking water more often, but I didn't really think anything about it because when you're that kind of age you think you're invincible. And then one hot day in May, me and my friends went to go and see the band Pendulum in Doncaster, and it was the first gig I'd ever been to. I drove us down in my car. We sat at the venue for a couple of hours bathing in the sun. We each got a slushie, big slushie, full of sugar, which in hindsight was a stupid idea. But a lot of this was a stupid idea. But anyway, I finished my slushie. The other guys didn't really finish theirs, so I was like, oh, I'll have yours as well, drinking all of it. And then we joined the queue, got right near the front of this gym hall with no air conditioning, absolutely packed in, and it just went horrendously warm. Pendulum came on and I was there feeling like, oh, I don't feel very well. And there was people at the front, like workers at the front, trying to pour little bits of water into people's mouths, and I was like, please a little bit of water for my dry mouth. And they'd give me like the tiniest bit of like, I need more than that. And then I passed out, but I was in a very packed crowd near the front, so I didn't fall over. I didn't really do anything. I was just like, just in this crowd, just passed out. Woke up like, oh, okay, yeah, Pendulum. Didn't really think anything of it. I think it happened another time, and then one of my friends was like, I need to get out of here. I went, yeah, I'll get out of here with you. We're gonna stand outside, get a drink. Got outside, they didn't have any bottles of water, so I had, I think, like a Sprite or something, a nice sugary Sprite to perk me up. And then we attempted to go back in, but we stood right at the back, and it just felt like stepping onto the sun. It was unbelievably hot. I drove home that night. I remember getting to a roundabout and just going around and around and around, and everyone thought, oh, he's being stupid because he's at the roundabout. It wasn't. My brain was like, I don't know what I'm doing, but no one else could drive. It was my car, and I just thought, oh, I'll just get home. Somehow we got home, and then that week I went downhill. I felt unbelievably unwell. I stopped eating, I could barely drink, I was being sick quite a bit. My brother had just moved house, so I hadn't seen him for like a week or two, and we went round to visit. He told me afterwards that he genuinely thought my mum had brought round a heroin addict. I had gaunt features, sunken eyes, I couldn't really talk. I tried to go up the stairs to the toilet, and just walking up those stairs felt like going up Everest. And afterwards, when I got back down, my brother just said, you need to go to the hospital. So I climbed back into the car with my mum, and off we went to the hospital. I remember that drive really clearly, leaning in the front passenger seat with my head just against the window, staring out at the town that I'd grown up in, convinced that I was never going to see it again. I just thought, this is something that's absolutely killing me. How am I ever going to be better than this? Like, it's just not possible for a person to heal from this. And I felt scared. And we got to the hospital, went into the A&E, a woman took me in for a little assessment. I think she took some blood, and I said, I'm feeling sick. And she handed me a comically small little cardboard tray as I was going to go like, came out of me like the devil escaping a person. Soaked me, soaked the poor doctor's shoes. She did not look happy, don't blame her. And I got taken off to a bed to just sit and await my fate. A doctor came in shortly after that, sat me down, a young man, and he said, I'm here to tell you that you've got type 1 diabetes, but it's okay and it doesn't have to be life-ending. I've got type 1 diabetes and you just make it work. And I laughed, not because I had diabetes, but also because I had diabetes. It was like just being told you don't have cancer, effectively. Like I was convinced I was going to die then, and I didn't. And 15 years later, here I am, walking the Cleveland Way, happily married. I've got an amazing child, a great job, amazing house, great friends, a loving family, and I'm alive. And that felt like winning the lottery 10 times in a row. Diabetes is rubbish. I have to go for blood tests all the time. When I hate blood tests, I've got to wear a monitor in my arm that tells me what my blood sugar's up to. I get high blood sugar, I get low blood sugar. It's knackered my immune system, so I get unwell all the time. It's caused problems with my eyes, it causes problems with like my organs. There's just the number of negatives that come with it are just ridiculous. But I'm not dead, so my relationship with diabetes has from the offset been more positive than I would have ever expected it to be. Living with something like that, it completely changes your life. If finding out I had autism made everything realign, diabetes knocked everything out of kilter. I had to figure out carbohydrates of food, I had to figure out what type of insulin worked with me, I had to learn the signs of low blood sugar and high blood sugar, just be constantly aware of it. I get woke up in the night with low blood sugar and have to just go and deal with that. I have like a pint or like a bit of chocolate and my blood sugar soars high and I have to deal with that. It's just so upsetting for like an equilibrium. It just shakes everything out of whack. But it's the same as with autism. I've sort of adopted it as part of my personality. I am the diabetic. People that I know have to just get used to the fact that sometimes midway through a conversation I'll just pull my trousers down and stab myself in the leg with a needle, and they go, okay, that was a bit unpleasant to watch, but he's the one who has to do it to himself, so I can't say, would you mind? Although some bloody people say it, let me tell you, some people get well funny if you inject yourself. Finding out I had diabetes, weirdly, that moment is a positive one. It's not a your life is over, it's your life is begun again. And I just feel incredibly fortunate that it wasn't something worse. Because one day it might be something worse. One day I might get that news that everyone dreads. My granddad used to say something else. I usually quote him on a lot of things, but he said, you shouldn't worry about anything until the doctor turns to you and says, it's not good news, because everything else you can solve. And he was a very wise man. So That kind of mentality has just always stuck with me. Life's gonna kick your ass in strange and peculiar ways. And you can either let it beat you, or you can kick it back. And I'm choosing to kick it back. Come on, boys and girls, you gotta come with me. Got a wee little hill to climb now, which, tripping over. Starts off all right, as you can see. And then I think it just gets a little bit annoying at the end. Just a little bit annoying, just kind of like, I could be nice, but I'm not gonna be nice. I'm gonna be irritating. And then we're at the secret place that I can't remember the name of. And I could check it because it'll be on a map, but what'd be the fun in that? Surely the place has got signs that we can go. There you go, that's what it's called. See what I mean? It's just irritatingly steep. It's not horrendous, just annoying. Hi, Paradise Farm, that's what it's called. Great for weddings if both your first names begin with a J. Hint, hint, wink, wink. Now, the eagle-eyed among ye might recognise this little track from the Boltby Forest walk that I did, because that there is Boltby Forest. We're near going in, we're skirting round and then heading over to Osmotherley, which is still, I don't know what accent that was, by the way, I apologise. Osmotherley's still a couple of hours away, and there today will come to an end. For me at least, not for you. Presumably you still have plenty of today left, unless you've timed it so this finishes exactly at midnight. And if you did, bravo, because I don't know why you'd have done that without knowing that I was going to say this bit. Maybe you're psychic, or maybe that's just what you like doing. I'm not here to yuck your yum. It's just down there where I flew my first drone for the first time, and then realised how rubbish it was and felt disappointed that I'd bought a crap drone. Thankfully, good old trusty Joni Droney, she knows how to give you the good stuff. That sounded weird. I mean, the footage is better and it's stable, whereas that one was like, and the footage came out at like 480p or something ridiculous, which doesn't mean anything to you if you don't know. Your peas. I have just remembered as well that my story of finding out I had diabetes, it wasn't like I suddenly went from looking like this to looking like a skeleton overnight. You know, it was a gradual thing over months, but especially in those last couple of weeks, I just got worse. And my mum and I had been talking about going to the doctors. It was a bank holiday weekend, and we sort of went, you know, we'll do it on Tuesday when it's maybe a little bit less chaotic. So it's not like she was just ignoring this date. It's just that when we saw my brother, he kind of highlighted how much worse it had got in such a short amount of time. So don't you be saying nothing nasty about my mama, or I'll come for you and I'll fight you. Because she was just unbelievably supportive before and especially after. She helped me sort of overcome the anxiety of doing injections, because when you've never done them before, it's a pretty scary and intense thing to have to teach yourself to do, especially when, like me, you hate needles. She learnt the signs of me having low blood sugar really before I did, so she helped me out loads with that. She continues to be an incredible support with it, and I love her to bits. And with Boltby Forest done, we're now on to Les Moors, which means we've got maybe like an hour to an hour and 20, I'd say, just basically walking along this track. So it's time to get our heads down and put a shift in. I love this section on the moors. It's just so peaceful. We're basically going, you might not be able to see it, there's a road over there, kind of leads over there and then down sort of towards Osmotherley. It's just so quiet up here. The first time I walked this section, it was me and Poppy. It had been quite a sunny day actually, but then I feel like it must have been like February or March or something like that when I did it. We got up here and then there was just snowfall and just these massive flakes just floating down. It was so quiet, so serene. I didn't see anyone. I just lived in that bliss. Sadly, no snow today. We might get some rain, unfortunately, but I'm trying to outrun it. That day that I walked with Pop actually does have quite an amusing end, because it was back in the days when when Poppy was a bit younger, so we'd be able to go on bigger hikes together. And this is the autistic part of my brain working. I'd go, oh yeah, we'll just casually walk like 35-40 miles without thinking, by the time you get halfway through that, you're going to be absolutely knackered, and then you're still going to have to do more. Because I don't think about the consequences of my actions. And we were walking around here and we got past Osmotherley, and then we started doing the Cleveland Hills bit after that. And that nice snowfall that had been over here turned into a thunderstorm over there. And those Cleveland Hills are massive, like you have to really, really hike up them. And I got to the bottom of one and looked up and there was just lightning on top of the second one, and I went, oh no, I can't go up there, but I'm getting picked up on the other side of those. So I went, okay, check my phone. I had like 2% battery. I was like, oh no, I'm in danger. I quickly texted my wife and said, you're gonna have to meet me at this place. And I think it was called like Swilby or something like that. And I started walking down there, and then I looked on the map and went, oh my god, there's two places and they're like 20 miles apart. And I thought, if she goes to the wrong one, there's no way she's gonna know where I am. And I had like no battery left. I had to switch my phone off so I could call her when she was a bit closer. And it was pelting it down with rain, and I got into this little village and I didn't really know anywhere to go. So I literally, I hid under this little bridge over a little stream. Me and Pop just sat under like, oh. And like an hour later, we sort of peeked our heads out, and there she was. She'd actually come to the right place, thankfully. So we climbed out and we got in the car, and I was like, ooh. And then she drove maybe 30 seconds down the road, and there was like a really big pub just at the bottom of this road. And I thought, I can't believe I've spent like an hour under a bridge when I could have gone to a pub and had a drink and warmed up and charged my phone. What a fool. So don't be like me. Listen to your body, set realistic targets, and when in doubt, don't hide under a bridge. when I come up here and I see like the dales over there, it really makes me want to go and do the coast to coast again. And the last time I did it from Robin Hood's Bay to St. Bees. So I did those hills and then came down and basically just had to walk like that way over to like Reeth and Richmond and all those. Just inspires something, doesn't it? It's like, you know that bit in The Hobbit when Bilbo's like, I'm going on an adventure. I look at that and I want to shout that, throw my bag on and just run barefoot that way, and then come back and get my shoes, because my feet, I've got to think about my feet. It's one of the things I have to think about as a diabetic, because I could lose them, and if I lose them I'm going to be hopping or crawling. That won't be as fun. Heavy rain, wherefore art thou, heavy rain? Over there. And the wind's coming this way. There's our first sign of Osmotherley, nestled in the valley. Probably, as the crow flies, it's probably about 2-ish miles, 2-3 miles. But we have to kind of weave round and then go down and then go up. It's not ever easy, is it? That's the moors done for now. So now we are heading down into a little valley, and then we're basically at Osmotherley. Although there is a big steep hill to climb up in Osmotherley, so that's good. But yeah, I've had a really good day, considering yesterday I thought this blooming cold was going to do me in. We were going to do me dirty, but it didn't do me dirty. It's actually been alright. We've worked in sync together. I've not sneezed on camera yet. All good. All goodly goodle. So we've got the final test of today. A big old steep hill. But then we're in Osmotherley, so I'll bid you farewell now, because I'll be a wheezing mess at the top. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'll be back in a couple of weeks with part 2, where we tackle the Cleveland Hills on our weaving journey over to the coast. So yeah, thanks for watching. See you in a couple of weeks.